Let's move on and get into the player ratings. We're going to start off with Vicario, 6s all round for Big Vic. And I don't think Big Vic could have anything to say with the goals he was left at point blank range. For the majority of them, I think he made one or two good saves. And again, I thought he was commanding and stuff from his crosses. So I don't have any problem with Vic yesterday. But he did concede 3 goals, so he can't get a high rating.
He conceded 3 goals from 4 on target. But yeah, as you said, like I can't think of he could have done anything with the first goal. Definitely not the third goal. Second goal could have made himself a bit bigger, but it's a good finish from Rutter anyway. I don't have a big problem with Vicario. The only thing I would say is in that second half, when we were trying to play out the back, and clearly, you know, they were fresher and a bit more on top of us. Could he have just gone to Solanke a few times and just got us up the pitch and go direct to him and get him to hold the ball up?
I was getting frustrated with that a bit. Second half,
so we probably should have done that a bit more. Maybe that could have relieved the pressure a bit, but we didn't. So
yeah,
that's that. So I gave him a 6.
Pedro Porro up next. Sim gives him a 3. I gave him a 4. I think it was for the first goal, he was just completely out of position and got completely done by Mitoma, I think it was, on that left-hand side. And Mitoma was giving him a really hard time for the most part. But I think when you're looking at the defenders, the back line from Udogie, Romero, Van de Ven and Porro, I think he probably comes out with it with the most credit, but that's not really saying much.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably give 2 ratings for all these players, first half and second half. But first half played really well, was a threat down the right hand side, had some good deliveries as well, and but even in the first half, Mitoma gave him a bit of a tough ride. But in the second half, Mitoma was just having the freedom of that left-hand side, and Porro just couldn't live with him, to be honest. And this is what I was saying in the preview. If you allow Mitoma to just relentlessly go at you, he's going to get joy, 100%. And in that second half, that's pretty much what we allowed to do. We just allowed him all the space. And Porro really, really struggled in that aspect, so gave him a 3.
Cuti Romero, Sim gives him a 4. I gave him a 3. I mean, his defending for that last goal, just to let Welbeck, it wasn't just him, it was Porro as well. Just completely drift past him was absolutely inexcusable at 2-2 after you've just thrown away a 2-goal lead. And I just felt like in that second half, there was just some poor traits from Romero where he's the captain, he's got the armband on at that moment in time when Sonny's gone. So he's got to be showing those leadership abilities, and he did anything but that. I thought he was poor, he went missing, he went hiding at times. In the first half, I thought he was actually really good in terms of, you know, he was getting on the ball, playing some really nice balls into the midfield and out wide, but yeah, second half is what he's going to get marked down on.
Yeah, shocking second half, to be honest. I thought first half on the ball he was just phenomenal. Some of his passing over the top. He played that beautiful ball for Maddison over the top, which Maddison should have done better with as well, with a beautiful run in behind. But he was just picking out these passes, and maybe it was because he had time on the ball or what it was. But I thought he was so good in that first half. But second half really let himself down. I thought for the defending for the second goal, when he just slides in rashly, was really poor. The defending for the third goal, where he just switches off and allows Welbeck, albeit it took him by surprise, when he just allows Welbeck to run off him without even looking at him, and by the time he realised where Welbeck was, it was too late. Just absolute shambolic switching off, and it's happened too many times this season, to be honest, and it's becoming a trend. So after what I thought was some really good performances from him over the past 5 games, really let himself down in this one.
Yeah. Mickey Van de Ven up next. 3s all round for Mickey. Lowest mark of his Spurs career, to be honest, by far. I thought I don't know what Mickey was playing at yesterday. For the first goal, he slices it. For the second goal, he just looked completely lost. And there was a number of times when Minter was just taking him to the cleaners as well. Really worrying in there from Mickey.
Yeah, it's something you don't associate with Mickey, but just weak in the challenge. There was a few times. There was one in the second half, which I think they got a chance from, where he's down the left. He comes across on the left-hand side. He's up against Minter, and he just puts a really weak challenge in. And Minter's just allowed to stream past him. It's like, this isn't the Van de Ven that we've seen week in, week out. Especially he had a break on Thursday as well, so he should be fresh for this game. But he just looked completely out of sorts here. And in those tight spaces, I thought his defending for the second goal, like just allowing Rutter to breeze past him and get the shot off when he's got him and Udogie. They both have control of that situation. Like, Rutter should not be getting a shot off in that situation, but he couldn't get near him. He just couldn't get a tackle in when he did. It was just a lazy leg, and they were weak challenges, and that's really something that you don't associate with Van de Ven. As you say, mistimed the slide for the first goal, which obviously Udogie ended up miscuing, and I just thought overall that second half was a disaster. Like, when he got close to players, his challenges were weak, and something that's really, really not like Van der Ven, to be honest.
Destiny Udogie, Sim gives him a 3, I gave him a 2. Pretty much had his hand in all the goals we conceded. I don't know what the hell he's doing for that first goal. Seriously, he kind of misjudges it and then does nothing to respond to that. In the second goal, completely lazy challenge from him, looked completely lost. And in the third goal, Rutter, I think it was, completely sold him down the river, and I don't know what he's doing. And with Udogie, you know, he's been so strong defensively and so strong offensively for pretty much since when he's got back fit. I think he's been absolutely brilliant, but I don't know whether he was just, you know, still coming back from this injury that he's just had. He wasn't fully fit, but that was an unrecognisable Udogie display in that second half, and he let us down, unfortunately.
Yeah, mistake after mistake, to be honest. And I think, you know, he probably should have been taken off early. I think he played 90 minutes in the end, but he should have been taken off because he was really having a tough time against Minter in that second half. Those mistakes for all 3 goals were, I mean, the one for the first one and the third one are completely inexcusable. The second one, him and Van der Ven, one of them has to be dealing with it. Again, he puts a weak challenge on Rutter, allows him to maintain the ball. Even if it means getting a foul outside the box or something, you know there's a covering defender there. The worst it's going to be is a yellow card. You've got to be stronger there. Allowing Rutter to allow him to get the shot off is so poor. The first one, he miscues the clearance. Look, that can happen in football, but the way he reacted to it, just stood there and like watched Minter put it in. It should have charged him down and at least made him rush the shot. Allowed Minter to just take his time to get composed and shoot was really, really poor. And then the third one, I mean, just how he allows Rutter to nutmeg him and get to the byline is completely inexcusable. How is allowed? I don't know how he's allowed him to do that. Just he completely lost his way in that second half, and he was lucky to stay on the pitch. I don't know why he wasn't taken off and Spence come on, because he was just struggling badly. Worst, probably easily his worst display in a Spurs shirt, I would say.
Rodrigo Bentancur, 3s all round. Yeah, again, he just went completely missing in that second half. Brighton completely dominated us in the midfield, and he was a massive part of that. I can't remember which goal it was, but he needs to be clearing that from the edge of the area. I mean, embarrassing from him. And he should have gone off a lot earlier. Bissouma was there ready and waiting to come on to give us that extra legs in midfield, which we were crying out for. And he didn't do that. I mean, he went off, in the 72nd minute or something like that, but it should have been a lot earlier than that, in my opinion. And I don't even think he was that good in the first half either when we were on top.
I agree. I actually think first half was one of his poorer games as well. I think, again, similar to Van der Ven, just very poor in the challenge. A few times he's going for a 50-50 and he's coming off second best, and that wasn't happening against Man United and Brentford. He was actually getting on top of those challenges. I don't know what happened in this game, but he was very weak. And too many times he was coming off second best, and we're getting put under pressure. And as you say, that third goal, I mean, is inexcusable. He has to deal with that situation. He's in control of that situation. When the ball goes to the byline, he's getting there ahead of Rutter. He could put out for a corner. He could touch the ball back off Rutter. He could do anything, apart from what he did was just try and see it out for a goal kick when Rutter, just all he has to do is slide and keep the ball in. And yes, it's a good kind of cross off a slide tackle, but still, Bentancur had complete control of that situation. He gave up control for no reason, and it cost us a goal. And so poor. So yeah, as well as Udogie, I think he should have been taken off earlier.
Kulusevski, 6s all round for Decky. I thought he was brilliant in the first half. He was a constant thorn in that Brighton side. For the opening 20 minutes, I thought like he was the complete conductor in that side, where, you know, he was making stuff happen. He was dangerous, unlucky to come off without a goal contribution as well. But second half, I think actually he was one of the only ones that did keep his standards, to be honest. It was just unfortunate that no one was on his same wavelength. But look, he just couldn't make stuff happen on his own.
Yeah, I thought first half he was terrific. He was causing Brighton all sorts of problems. He was getting down that right-hand side, linking up with Brennan. He was playing some really good balls in behind as well, and they struggled to deal with him that first half. Second half, he had a couple of moments, but obviously, as Spurs lost control, he wasn't getting as much of the ball. I also think he was part of that midfield that just completely lost control of the game. I don't think he off the ball he was good enough, to be honest. He needs to make sure that if he's going to be a long-term pick in this position, which I really believe he can be, he can't have moments like that where he just allows the opposition to gain control, because he needs off the ball. He needs to be a lot better. But on the ball, he kept trying things. Obviously, he was stayed on, and he's such a powerful runner that and his stamina was still there, which was good. But unfortunately, lost control of that midfield in the second half.
Maddison up next. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 6. Again, first half, I thought he was getting on the ball, trying to make stuff happen. I thought Kulusevski was a lot better in the middle, to be fair. Does get his goal. To be honest, his goal wasn't even a good finish. It was a really terrible mistake by the keeper. But he does get the goal. And second half, just completely missing. He didn't stand up for the team as a vice captain.
I thought he was good in the first half, and he'll feel a bit annoyed with that chance as well, where Romero plays him for on goal, and he just waits an age to get that shot off. He's got to be doing something a lot quicker and allow the defender to block. He obviously did get his goal, which got a bit of luck with a poor mistake from the keeper. But second half, I thought he was terrible on the ball, just offering very, very little. He had that one moment where he had Werner to his left and he decides to just take a wild swing from like 25 yards, which was never going to go in, and ends up like going in the top of the stands. He was rightfully probably taken off at that point as well. Just after that, he offered just not much. I think I would have liked to see Bergvall come on just because at that point we were 3-2 down and we needed added spark, which Maddison lost. But we didn't. But yeah, I thought was very, very poor in that second half. And off the ball, offered very little.
Yeah. Brennan Johnson, Sim gives him a 7. I gave him a 6. Obviously, he had a very good first half, getting another goal, 6 and 6 for Brennan. And he was just a constant threat. He really was down that right-hand side. We were really opening them up at will down that side at times with him and Solanke and Kulusevski working their magic. But again, second half, he's another one that, well, I say another one, it was the whole team that just couldn't stand up, and we just couldn't break them down for love nor money. And I felt like he as well went a bit missing in that second half.
Yeah, obviously he got his goal, which fair play to him. Really good finish, makes it 6 and 6. And I thought he was again also really good in the first half. He'll be a bit frustrated that chance he had right at the end of the first half where he went through and he blazed it over the bar. At that point, that's 3-0. Maybe that could have been the moment that really sealed the game. But obviously, second half, but like the rest of the team, was shocking. Couldn't really get involved in the game. But I thought of the front three, he was having a really strong game. So I gave him a 7.
Next up is Timo Werner. 5s all round for Timo, and I thought he was actually playing well in the first half. He was beating his man at will down that left-hand side, putting crosses into the box. That first minute, he breaks the lines and gets in behind, and he plays that ball to Brennan that just had a bit too much on it, where you either... It's not the hardest pass to make.
It's not, yeah, he should have laid it on a plate.
Laid it on a plate for Brennan, who would have had an open goal, which was very frustrating. But it's just the constant theme, isn't it, with Timo? He can get past his man. He does everything right in the build-up up until that final moment, final passing or shooting moment where it lets him down, unfortunately. Second half, he was completely anonymous. I can't remember him getting on the ball once, to be honest. And he does get an assist, though, for Maddison's goal, albeit it was just a simple pass.
It was, but he still has to get in that position in behind. I thought he was giving them all sorts of trouble in that first half. Veltman really struggled to deal with him when he was on the ball. Every time he got the ball, he seemed to be able to get past Veltman and get to the byline. And I thought he was causing him a lot of trouble, albeit yet again with Werner, his final ball a few times definitely let him down, especially with that one in the first minute. That's got to be on a plate for Brennan. That has to be an assist there. But I did think he was giving them a lot of trouble first half, but second half was back to his worst, to be honest, because completely anonymous, giving the ball away, didn't get involved in the game. The only thing he did was have that shot from 25 yards which blazed over the bar, and other than that he just did very, very little, and again rightly taken off. Probably could have been taken off earlier. I would have liked to have seen more a bit earlier, because he had that run right at the end of the game, didn't he, where he gave the right back a bit of trouble, and maybe if he had a bit earlier could have seen more of that.
Dom Solanke, 7s all round for Big Dom. I thought he was absolutely brilliant in the first half. Had his hand in both our goals. The assist was brilliant, and he had a pre-assist as well, which was lovely, playing the build-up. And he was just working in tandem so well with the likes of Brennan Johnson and Kulusevski in that first half. And I'm really loving the relationship that those three are kind of building on that pitch. Second half, look, with Dom, I love his build-up play and I love his physicality and the way he can press and everything like that. But I would like to see him be more of a bit of a goal threat as a number 9. I feel like he's not being as much as a goal threat as maybe he was at Bournemouth. But I think every other facet of his play is absolutely brilliant. So that's good. But in the second half, yeah, like you said earlier, that, Vicario probably should have gone long to him and used him a bit more. But he kind of was just like not used at all in the second half.
Yeah, and I feel like his pressing wasn't as good in that second half as well, unlike the first half. First half, he was, I think we're nearly talking about 8 or 9 out of 10. He was that good. They just couldn't live with him. Every time he got the ball, he was playing some beautiful passes in behind. He played that pass to Werner through in the first minute. He played the pass through to Brennan for the goal. Beautiful way of pass, by the way, because Brennan doesn't even have to take a touch. He just finishes it first time. Another great pass. He played the pass through to Werner, who then set on Maddison as well. So every time he got the ball, he was just the perfect way of pass through to the wingers who were getting him behind time and time again. And a lot of that was down to Solanke, and his overall passing really was on display yesterday with some really good through balls and really made use of the space. Second half we weren't getting him involved. I don't know whether it was he wasn't showing for the ball or we just had a reluctance to go direct to him, but either way he was anonymous in that second half. He wasn't getting the ball at all, and he really struggled to get involved, which was a shame. But first half I thought it was excellent, and it's a shame he ended up on the losing side.
Yeah, Pape Matar from the substitute. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 5. Probably came on a bit too late. When he did come on, he won his duels. That was the main thing, because none of the other players were winning their duels. So that's the only really thing I can say about Pape.
Yeah, I didn't have too much to complain about. The only thing is really at that point we needed a bit of guile and creativity, and he didn't really offer that. But at least we kind of got that bit more possession, and we were dominating for that period, but we offered very little going forward. So I don't really have much to say about Sarr.
Bissouma, Sim gives us a 6 again. I gave him a 5 again, and pretty much the same as Pape. They both came on and kind of stemmed the tide of Brighton with the mad chance creation that they were creating against us at will. But they helped us add those legs into the midfield, but that was about it. Yeah,
I think they stemmed the tide a bit. I don't remember too many chances that we conceded after they came on, to be fair. So I think we quieted down. By that point, they're already 3-2 up, so they're probably just defending the lead. So again, at that point, I don't think he did too much wrong, but probably didn't help us, try and get back in the game either.
And last but not least, Mr. Ange Postecoglou, 4s all round for Big Ange. And at half time, you're probably giving him a 9 or a 10 with the way that we were playing. Absolutely brilliant. I thought the team that he picked kind of picked itself at the beginning of the game. Couldn't really, unless you're going to start Mikey Moore over Werner, but I never really expected him to at the end of the day. But second half, when you see the team is struggling, you need to help them out and you need to make changes on that pitch. And he didn't do anything to try and stem the tide of that game, and made the changes after it was too late.
Yeah, even if you just make a sub just to slow the game down a bit and just, get some messages to your players, all this kind of stuff. And that was really frustrating. I feel from a bit, because 2-0 up and cruising and we're playing so well, like I don't think he would have envisaged how the second half went. And as well, as we said, I don't think the goals we conceded were down to our structure and how we kind of were set up tactically. A lot of it was to do with just players being weak and not putting challenges in and making really poor mistakes, and 3 players around a Rutter and him getting through. That's nothing to do with Ange, but Ange definitely has culpability with how he managed the game for sure, because he said he saw things and he didn't change it. So I've got to put a lot of blame on him for not managing to stem the tide. And your job is to manage the game and try and get involved in the game. And he decided to take a step back for some reason, and I got to criticise him for that, because you're a manager of the club, and whatever you feel like how the players are playing, like if it's their fault what's happening, and it might well be their fault, but it's your job to try and get involved in that and try and change that. And he decided for some reason not to before it was too late. So I got to mark him down for that.
Also, I agree with that in terms of it was the players' fault majority, but when you see a team come out with a clear lack of passion, lack of fight, complete complacency, doesn't the buck always stop with the manager? Like it's his job to motivate these players. You're coming in at 2-0 up after a really good performance. it's his job to keep that going, not to. And if they lose that will and they lose that and they have that complacency creep into the game, the buck always stops with the manager.
Of course, and if that keeps happening, then that's what will cost him. I'm hoping this will learn from this, and Ange will learn from this. Maybe second half he didn't drill into the players enough that we need to make sure we're staying on top of them, and we need to be as aggressive as we were in the first half, because we did come out in the second half as if the game was won. And I don't know if that was a messaging from Ange or the players took it upon themselves to be like that, but the buck will stop with Ange for sure. But it's, as I've said, this isn't a problem that I think we've seen as much under Ange as other problems. So hopefully this is something we can learn from and deal with.
All right. Well, that is our player ratings post-mortem from the 3-2 loss against Brighton.